Hello archivists, welcome back to our channel, or welcome to our channel. We are Six-Sided Scribes. My name is Jugal.
And my name is Nahal, and today we've got a boarding actions game for you between the Dark Angels and the Thousand Suns. So today's mission is from the Ark of Omen book Angron, and it's called Corrupt the Machine Spirit. So as you can tell, naturally, the Thousand Suns are going to be trying to corrupt the machine spirit of the Ark of Omen to try and bend it to their will, while the Dark Angels are going to try to stop it. They don't really want it, they just don't want the Thousand Suns to have it.
That is so mean. Just let us have the Ark.
What's next? The Rock? Oh,
yes.
Wait.
Yes.
So, if you haven't already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, because we're still growing our content, and there should be a little subscribe button in the corner anyway. Tell your friends, tell your Facebook groups, tell whoever, your neighbor's dog. But yeah, we'd love to make some more content for you guys, and let us know what sort of content you like and what you'd like to see on our channel.
All right, and with that, let's move on to the mission. So today's mission is called Corrupt the Machine Spirit. Now this is from the Ark of Omen Angron book, and we're looking forward to it. We haven't really played any missions from this book, and this is the first one we rolled, so it should be really interesting. Now, as you can see from the map, the attackers are on one side on one specific block, while the defenders land up on 4 different deployment zones. Now, the rules for this mission is that the defenders have to go first, so they have turn 1 preference. So that means the roll-off is even more important. The scoring of this game is done at the end of the game. The attackers have the option of humbling the machine spirit. It's an action we do in the command phase on an objective that we hold. On a roll of a d6, on a 2+, we've successfully humbled that objective, and we are allowed to pick a battlefield rule that will come into effect for this one battle round. So for every objective that we have humbled, at the end of the game we get 20 victory points, and for the defender, at the end of the game, for every objective marker that they still hold, they get 30 victory points. Now this is important to remember, that for every objective that I have humbled, that objective marker is then removed from the board. So that means my opponent doesn't even have the option of scoring on that. So with that being said, let's move on to the armies.
So, today for the Dark Angels, I have got a 500-point boarding patrol for your viewing pleasure. I've taken a few zany units that I haven't really taken because 9th Ed Dark Angels didn't allow me to, but I thought I'd get them out just on the eve of 10th Ed. So without further ado, my HQ is a Captain in Gravis armor. Now this is one of my fondest models that I have because I got him back when Dark Imperium was a thing. As you can see, he's been converted with a few Dark Angels bits and bobs. Now he has been given the Expert Breachers enhancement, and I've also paid 15 points to get him into the inner circle through the rites of initiation, which means he can only be wounded on a 4+, which is going to be quite tough, especially given that he's already T5 to begin with. Following him into this Ark of Omen, I have a barebone squad of intercessors. Sergeant has a power sword on him, and there is one intercessor with a grenade launcher. Everyone in the unit has autobolt rifles. With them, I have a squad of Blade Guard veterans, so just 4-man squad, power swords, storm shields. They're just going to do whatever they do, hack and slash, you know what Blade Guard are like. And with them, in a heavy support slot, which I'm actually allowed to take in this boarding action, is a squad of Hellblasters. Now, these guys haven't been out of my case all edition, so I'm really excited to have them on the board. I mean, I just love the fact that they've got giant plasma guns. So they're just going to be running around, shooting things and killing stuff with their big plasma. They've just got the rapid fire variants, none of the heavy or the assault stuff. All of that brings it down to 500 points on the nose, and as usual, I start the game on 1 CP. Let's see what the Thousand Suns have brought against this.
So today for the Thousand Suns, I'm bringing 500 points in the Cult of Time in this boarding actions mission. Now, I am running them in the Cult of Time because I feel like I'm a little tired of Cult of Duplicity. Not to mention, the cast for the Sorcerer's Facade has now gone up to a whopping 11, so it's going to be quite difficult to pull off. I will be starting the game with the standard 1 CP for the mission, but I will also be starting with 7 Cabal points. Just enough to make a Psychic Power auto pass. So perhaps I should have taken Sorcerer's Facade. So leading my boarding patrol in the HQ slot is an Exalted Sorcerer on foot. Now I've played the points, given a Prospering Khopesh, which is the same as a Mastercrafted Power Sword. In addition, I've also given him the Waller trait for Expert Breachers. Will just allow him to open a hatchway and move through it in the same turn. I'm hoping this will give me some additional mobility and get me through doorways and to the objectives faster. Moving on to my troops. The meat and potatoes of my list is 2 squads of rubrics. Now 1 squad is just with bolt guns, and the second squad has 3 Infernal Flamers and a Warp Flame Pistol on the Sergeant, or the Aspiring Sorcerer, and 1 bolt gun in addition, because that's just how the points turned out. Now moving on, in my troops I've got a squad of Zangos. Now they will be joining the mission in boarding patrols. Now this means that a standard squad of 10 would be subdivided into 2 squads of 5, both of which have chainsaws and bolt pistols. Now the reason I've taken them is because I just want more bodies, so I can send them to open hatchways, maybe corrupt objectives, and just do all the things that I don't want my rubrics to get bogged down with. So their focus should be better put on shooting and casting the psychic powers. Now to round off the list, I'm also taking a max squad of Chaos Spawn. I'm hoping to get a lot of utility out of them because they are T5, they got 4 wounds, they move 7 inches, so they are fast, and their stratagem that Thousand Suns have access to, which is the Fated Mutation, has now been baked into the data sheet, which means when I do get an engagement range, I don't have to roll off for their mutation. I just pick which one I choose. I'm concerned that with the size of the bases, that when I do get an engagement, I can only maybe get 2 of them in combat. But with that being said, let's move on to the game.
So here we are, the Ark of Omen has been set, the models have been deployed, and we're ready to go. So we rolled off at the beginning, and the Dark Angels actually ended up being the defenders, which is pretty much true to the story that we said in the introduction. And if you want to pan down, I can take you through the layout of the map and see where to go from here. So we had pockets of deployment for the Dark Angels here, 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 and there, and also this corner where nothing's deployed in either corner. We've got the objective markers that we're going to be fighting over. We have 1 here in this corner, we have 1 here, 1 there, 1 in the middle here in the hallway, and 1 just in front of this wall here. And the Thousand Suns all deploy in these 4 squares here. So Jugs, you want to talk us through how you deployed your models and what was your thought behind it?
Well, as you can see, I've deployed everything straight up over here. Now, as I'm an attacker, my goal is to get on these objectives and hold them on the start of my command phase. And when I do, I can corrupt them, I can humble them. That also gives me the advantage of choosing a battlefield rule that will apply for this battle, for the next battle round. And one of them allows me to open or close 3 hatchways. So I can quickly grab the first objective right in front of me here and lay open a path for the second one, and then maybe the third. So that is the plan. But let's see where it goes, because the Dark Angels are the defenders and they will be moving first.
Okay, yeah, well, keeping in mind that I am going first, that's why I thought to get onto the objectives pretty early on and just sort of hold them. Now, I know that there's 5 objectives in this mission and I've only got 4 units and one of them's a character. So holding on to all 5 is going to be nearly impossible for me. So I'm just going to hold on wherever I can and then go from there. Now, with that in mind, I actually deployed a squad of intercessors here, with the plan being they're just going to move up here and hold this objective. Over here, I've got my Hellblasters with my captain. So my captain's basically just going to run up, grab that objective with the Hellblasters going and trying to shoot Jugs off of that objective if he gets onto it, or if I can get a line, draw a bead, maybe through there. Over here, I've got the Blade Guard, so they'll basically be coming here, holding onto this objective here, and then moving on from there. So that's basically the lay of the land, so to speak, and let's see how this plays out. Jugs, you ready for that?
Yes. Let's see how the Dark Angels move, and let's see what's in store for us.
Cool. Okay, so nothing much to do here at the end of the Dark Ages movement phase. Really nothing much I can even shoot at, but I'll just take you quickly through it. My intercessors advanced, got a mighty 6, so they ran up here, they're holding on to this objective. My captain in Gravis armor got a 4 in his advance, so he's standing over here, within an inch of this objective, within an inch of that door, but I have not yet opened that door. My Hellblasters got a 2 on their advance, so they basically just come here and formed a sort of a staging area. Not sure how well that'll do with his spawn just running up to him right there. And my Blade Guard ran up from this corner, still got a 2 on the advance, so not quite enough to get to the objective, but they sort of made it up over there. So that's basically the end of the Dark Angels turn 1. We'll probably be back after the end of the Thousand Suns movement phase.
Here we are with the Thousand Suns turn 1. Now, it's been pretty good. Let's see how it goes with Psychic phase, but while I'm here, I'll talk you through my movement phase. So, my spawn have simply moved 7 inches right up here. My Zangos have sort of just moved up and stepped on here. Now, I've kept one behind the wall, just in case I don't kill them or these intercessors come out of the way. Over here, my Exalted Sorcerer uses Expert Breaches, open the door and walk right through over here. While my Flamer Rubrics and the one bolt gun have advanced 3 inches and come over here. Now, because I've advanced, the one bolt gun can't fire, but the remaining Flamers are assault weapons, so they should well and truly burn the Blade Guard veterans over here. My other rubrics have just made a 1 inch advance, which I rerolled into a 1. Oh well, so much for a command reroll. So they just moved up over here, but I was still careful enough to keep the Sorcerer 6 inches from the Zangos, who have daisy changed with the 3 inch advance, because he knows Temporal Surge, and I have 7 Cabal points to make it auto pass, and why not use it?
Yep, and to get onto that objective, I presume.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Interesting. Cool. You sound pretty confident in everything you've got planned up.
Well, let's see, because confidence is the antithesis of dice rolls. So, in the Psychic phase, he's going to cast Temporal Surge onto the Zangos.
Yep.
And because I'm using my Cabal points to make it auto pass on 9, they're going to move another 6 inches. Over here, this one is going to cast, my Exalted Sorcerer is going to cast Glamour onto the Rubrics. And that fails. I will use a CP to reroll that because why not? Passes.
Okay.
So they are now glamoured. And with my other cast, I'm going to cast Zinch's Firestorm into the Blade Guard veterans.
Okay.
So every 6 is a mortal wound.
1.
That's 1 mortal wound. Now the rubrics over here are going to cast a smite into them.
Yep.
Goes off with a 5.
Oh, yeah.
Down
Plus
+1 to
1.
cast.
Okay, so D3. 1.
1.
Okay.
And that's it for my Psychic phase.
Cool.
Let's move on to the shooting.
Alrighty, we'll move all our models and we'll be back at the start of shooting.
Alright, let's do the Flamers over here. So I've got 3 Flamers into the Blade Guard. Now these will be wounding on 4s.
7.
At AP -2.
So, I'm going to start taking the saves on the guy that's already got the 1 mortal wound on him. Naturally, of course, because he is actually partially blocked by the wall, he will get a cover save. So that actually puts him onto a 3 of armor. So let's see how we go. Makes that, 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 makes all 7 saves. Perfect. He is still standing.
Now I've got one more weapon left, that is the Warp Flame Pistol on him. So that's D6 shots.
Suffice. Okay. Makes that. And makes that.
Oh,
Blade Guard for the win. He is a tank.
And with that, that's my shooting.
Okay.
Let's move on to the charges.
Which is going to be this fun charge for you, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to dual charge the Captain and Gravis armor and the Hellblasters.
Okay.
So I measured out to be a 5.
Yep. Let's see if you can make that.
I've got the 1 CP reroll because my last CP.
Yep.
And that's why I saved that.
Oh, it's a 4. The charge fails. The spawn survive.
Yeah, it's a 4 and 1 inch come on.
Okay. The dice aren't doing any favors.
Nope,
today,
I
bro.
told you, confidence is the antithesis of dice rolls.
Okay.
But with that, I'm going to say goodbye to a lot of dead models. We'll be back with the Dark Angels after their movement phase.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay. The Emperor must have really been watching me there because the Thousand Stars did not do too well. So naturally, I want to capitalize on that now. In the movement phase, nothing much done, just a few little bits and bobs here and there. My Hellblasters actually stood still, just so I can get my Grim Resolve. They get the +1 to hits, and now they're hitting on 2s with the Captain right there, rerolling 1s to hit. So that'll make them really cool. And the rapid fire guns as well. Also, I should probably mention, turn 1, I did start on the Devastator Doctrine. Now, I've decided to move into Tactical for obvious reasons. So Hellblasters now go up to AP 5, so that'll be fun. Another benefit of the Tactical Doctrine is on my Intercessors over here, who basically just moved up 6 inches, and from where they are, they get good angles onto the Zangor squad over here. Their guns, which are auto bolt rifles, also go from AP 0 to AP 1, which I think will be quite cool as well. My Blade Guard veterans moved up 6 inches to have like a 3-inch charge, or maybe a 2, I'm not sure.
It's definitely a 2-inch.
Into the rubrics. They are -1 to hit, which will actually kind of slow me down a little bit, but let's see how we go. And just to finish it off, my Gravis Captain took a 3-inch walk forwards, I guess, leaving my Hellblast in the back still within an inch of that objective for what it's worth, but he can now charge that spawn over there if the Hellblasters don't kill them directly. With that, let's move right past our psychic phase, because we're not heretics like that, into our shooting phase.
All right, what do you have for us?
So I am going to start shooting with my Captain in Gravis armor, just because he never really had a chance to do it ever since I've actually owned the model. But he's going to fire 3 shots from his Bolson Gauntlet into the spawn. He can see part of the base, so you would get a cover save. Let's see what I get. Hitting on 2s, all hit. Wounding on 5s, 1 wound, AP 1, but you would get a cover save.
So he has a 5-up armor save. Nope, takes 1 damage.
Takes 1 damage, okay.
So 1 spawn is down to 3 wounds.
Awesome. My Hellblasters are actually going to unload everything into the spawn here. Because there's different degrees of lines of sight between all the models, I'm actually going to do these in order, starting with this guy, who can actually just draw a bead onto that spawn over there. Supercharging, hitting on 2s from Grim Resolve, rerolling 1s. So 3s, that's 1 wound at AP 5.
So goes right through it.
Goes right through, so he's down to 1 wound.
Yes.
Let's move on to the guy next to him. 2 shots, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 3s. Goes
So
straight
1's
through.
dead.
1's dead. Now next is going to be these 2 into that spawn there, maybe that one. Different colored dice for different Hellblasters. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. Now if I can get that into the wound roll, that'll be awesome. I will spend 1 CP and reroll that.
Okay.
Into a 2, doesn't really matter.
Then you have your last one there.
And that's just my last guy. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. Yep, wounding on 3s. Nothing. Let's move on to the Blade Guard. Hopefully they'll have better luck. I'll chuck a crack grenade from 1, going there, hitting on, not that. And time for 3 pistols, hitting on 4s, all hit.
Yes.
Wounding on 1 wound.
So 3-up armor.
So onto the squad of Intercessors, shooting everything into the Zangos. So I'm going to start with the grenade launcher, then I'm going to shoot this guy, and then I'll do the other 3.
Okay.
Okay. Crack grenade. Strength 6, toughness 4.
Not a wound.
Why am I rolling so many 2s?
Why couldn't you roll them earlier?
The gun that's on the due to the grenade launcher. So just the gun. 1 hit. Again, another 2. Okay, let's go with the next guy with the auto-bolt rifles.
So hitting on 3.
Now for the remaining 3 guys, wounding on 4s.
5-up armor. Nope,
Nope.
that's 2 dead.
Okay.
So these 2 have been removed.
Now, so that's the end of our very disappointing shooting phase. Hopefully things start to turn around on the charge phase. So we'll probably just do some charges and we'll be back. So likely these guys will charge there. Captain will charge into the spawn. Hopefully, maybe the Hellblasters too. I'm not sure just yet. The blade guard will go into the rubrics. Alrighty. We will roll some dice and we'll be back. Okay, so we've done our charges and it's been a day of steady decline for us because we started off really great with my intercessors needing to make a 7-inch charge but making an 11-inch charge into the Zangos, so basically just managing to get around there, which I have been particular not to base just so I can get a little bit more movement out of that pile-in and consolidation. Then there was a sharp decline from 11 inches to 5 inches, which is basically what my captain needed to get into combat with that. He could have made combat there with 4 inches, but I wanted 5. So just so, you know, the amount of spawn that can fight him on the swing back is minimized a little bit. But anyway, so he's made his there. The blade guard here needed a 3-inch charge, got a 4. As you can see, we decline even more, but the pace is sort of steadying out a little bit. But a 4-inch charge managed to get all the blade guard into combat with the rubrics. Let's start with the intercessors over here. They're all punching except for the sergeant that has a power sword. So that is 3 attacks out of each of them due to shock assault, 4 on the sergeant. So the white dice are the sergeant's power sword. The rest of them and the black dice are going to be punching the Zangos with their bare fists. Wounding on 3s on the white and 4s on the black. 3 at AP 3 and 4 at AP nothing.
Okay, so let's take the 3 on a 5-up invul, 4 on a 4-up armor. That's dead.
That would wipe the squad. Now I'm going to go with the captain in Gravis armor. He's going to basically put everything from his fists into the spawn. He gets 5 attacks base, +1 for shock assault, and +1 for being a Gravis captain with a fist. So there's 7 attacks. I'm hitting on 3s because it's -1 to hit. Wounding on 3s. Okay, so that is AP 3 2 damage.
2 spawn.
So now onto the blade guard. They've got 5 attacks from the sergeant, 4 attacks from the rest. Now because your rubrics are -1 to hit, I'll be hitting on 4s but wounding on 3s. And let's see what happens. And I don't think you would get here all this dust because they're 2 damage each. In the die box, cool. Wounding on 3s.
Make 2, so 4 dead. We're going to fight back with the 1,000 Suns, starting with the spawn. Now I'm going to pick the fated mutation that lets them reroll the wound roll, which is toxic hemorrhage.
Yep.
So that means they have 2d3 attacks each. Let's see how many I can pull off.
3, 6, 9, 10. Not bad.
So they are hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, and then rerolling fails. So hitting on 4s.
6 4-ups coming up.
So he lives on 1 wound.
He lives on 1 wound.
Moving on to the rubric sorcerer over here. Hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s because the exalted sorcerer behind him. Wounding on 4s because they're transhuman. Yeah, 3 wounds at AP -1.
Oh wow, okay. So
that's
1 would basically kill the guy on 1 wound.
And D3, so let's check the other one.
3. Kills 2. Whoa, wow, okay. He is out for blood.
Okay, well, I think that's probably the best aspiring sorcerer's ever done. Now with that, let's move on to 1,000 Suns turn 2.
Yep.
We'll be back.
And we're back at the end of the 1,000 Suns movement phase. It's been a pretty big command phase and movement phase for you, Jokes. You want to talk us through it?
Oh yes, there was a lot of thinking and brain rattling over it. But as you see when you come down to the board, this is post-movement phase, and we've had some ideas. So my Zangos, since they were holding the objective in the command phase, I rolled a dice and they successfully corrupted that objective. So the objective marker has been removed. And as a benefit, it also allowed me to open up to 3 doors. So I've opened this hatchway and this hatchway. And since these open in the command phase, they are now open, and my Zangos made a glorious 6-inch advance in here. Now I could have moved them much further, but I chose to just keep them there out of line of sight from your shooting. So hopefully that helps. My rubrics have just moved up this way 6 inches, ending right here. Now the plan is I'm going to smite with him into the Gravis captain, kill him off his last wound.
Okay.
and then make a simple 3-inch charge into the Hellblasters back here, while the spawn make a 4-inch advance from the front, 4-inch charge from in front. Over here, my Exalted Sorcerer has just moved up. Now I'm hoping between 2 smites and Tzeentch's Firestorm, I can just kill these guys. And if it doesn't happen, I can probably make the charge and try to kill them with the rest of him.
Okay, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. So I'm hoping your Psychic Phase goes similar to how it did last turn at this point. But
let's hope not. I really hope not.
Let's see how we go. Ready to roll some dice?
Yes, let's move on to the Psychic Phase.
Cool. So what are you doing now?
Let's start with the rubrics into the smite into the Grabs Captain.
Okay.
I just need a 4 on the roll. Make it with a 5, so 6. So he's just
well
dead.
Truly dead.
Let's go to the Exalted Sorcerer here.
Yep.
I'll cast his Tzeentch's Firestorm into the Blade Guard.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
So every 5 and 6 is a mortal wound. Let's do another smite. It fails, but I'll spend my 1 CP to reroll that now. So
okay.
D6.
Roll a 1, roll a 1.
5.
Nope. That kills both of them.
Well, there isn't much to the shooting because the Zangos have advanced.
Yep.
These guys don't have any line of sight at anything that they can shoot.
Yep.
So
moving on to charges. Before we do, I'm just gonna pull out all my dead and then we'll roll some charges. What say you, Jugs?
Yes, I love to see the dead leave the board. So the Thousand Suns have made some charges. Cost me 1 CP because I rolled 2 1s on the spawn charge.
Again.
Yes, I did. But the spawn, luckily on the reroll, made an 11-inch charge, so they just got comfortably in. While my rubrics made another 10-inch charge.
Yeah, something like that.
They needed a 3.
Anyway, those Hellblasters don't look like they belong to this world.
I'm going to start with the spawn, and I'm going to pick the Fated Mutation that gives them a -4 AP on their weapons. I think it's called Razor Sharp Talons. So 2d3 attacks each. So 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s. That's 1 dead. Let's move on to the rubrics. So 2 attacks each with their fists, hitting on 3s.
That's 4 3-ups. Fail 1.
1 damage.
Okay.
And now the Sorcerer. Hitting on 3s. 1 at 18 -1.
Okay, so 4 up. Nope. I will punch back into the spawn. So just basically just pile in that way and there. So that is 10 attacks coming from the Hellblasters into the spawn. Let's see. Hitting on 2s because of Grim Resolve.
Wounding on 5s. Alrighty. With that, my rubrics are officially holding that objective.
Okay.
And yes, that's it for the Thousand Suns. Let's see what the Dark Angels can do, shall we?
Okay. Okay. End of the movement phase for Dark Angels. And I have actually never been so glad to be in Tactical Doctrine, actually. So that's going to be interesting. We might be getting a bit desperate, but to people that are outside the inner circle, I'm just going to say we're going to get increasingly risky in our tactics. So, long story short, the Hellblasters stayed in combat because the Dark Angels in their Tactical Doctrine means that the Hellblasters can actually shoot their rapid fire weapons into combat with a ballistic skill of 5, but then stacks up against their Grim Resolve, so they hit on 4s. Here I had my intercessors. I had a choice. I could have either gone back over there, held on to that objective and sort of secured it till the end of the game, but it's so far removed from the rest that it didn't really make sense for me to do it. So instead, I moved them up 6 inches, opened that door, and when I did move them, I actually moved them in such a way that when the door opened, they all have full line of sight onto the Zangos. So hopefully shoot, charge, and then go from there. Nothing much I can do about that, so that entire side of the arc is actually just lost to me. Now, that being said, let's move into shooting. Let's go with the Hellblasters with supercharging, and I will shoot everything into the spawn. So, let's see what happens. No dead ones, only 1 hit though, unfortunately. I will spend a CP and reroll 1. If it kills a guy, it kills a guy. If not, it hits. Hits! Yes! Needing 3s to wound, but just puts a
puts one spawn on two wounds.
Okay, it doesn't really help as much. Now, onto the intercessors into the Zangos. Crack grenade again, hitting on 3s, wounding on not that. Autobolt rifles hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. So that's my lackluster shooting phase. Onto charging, there's just the one charge that needs to be made. So I need a 5 from the intercessors into the Zangos.
Well, you certainly have the CP for it, but
Yeah.
I've rolled a 4.
Okay, let's see what I can get. That's a 10. Let's take 5 times 2. Let's swap some colors. So the black dice are the power swords and the white dice are the fists. Hitting on 3s. The 4's on the bone, 3's on the black.
So 5 saves at 4 up armors. Save 3, so that's 2 dead. So in protracted combat, I'll go first and I will activate my spawn. And this time I will learn from my mistakes and go for the fated mutation that gives me 3d3 attacks each.
Okay.
6 d3 attacks coming from the spawn. Let's see how many I can generate. I'm hitting on 4s.
Okay, so I need 5 5-ups.
Yes.
Each one's a dead Hellblaster. Close, but if I keep them alive, I'll spend a CP and reroll one.
Okay.
Because I've got the CP and why not? Nope. You have now deleted the Hellblasters.
Bye bye Hellblasters.
Okay.
You were grand while you lasted.
Now I guess your Zango gets to fight back.
Hitting on 3s, I want to say. 2 hits.
Wounding on 4s.
Wounding on 4s.
Yep.
And I think with that, we're at the end of the Dark Angel's turn.
At this point, I don't see much I can do. I'm down to 1 squad of intercessors, which I think next turn, given that it's yours, you will basically just send the spawn right into them, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you don't advance or move out of the door, so you can get line of sight and then smite them out. I think it's safe to say that the Thousand Suns, despite the valiant effort of the Dark Angels, the Thousand Suns unfortunately control this Ark of Omen, and I think they're going to just go ahead and take the sector of space.
All right. Well, that we'll just
Tally up our scores, I guess, and come back to you at the end of the game.
All right. See you then. So, Archivist, here we are at the end of the game, which was quite swingy, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, went back and forth. I mean, the dice did not love it, either of us.
No, they did not. But we did talk through the game, and we decided that Thousand Suns obviously won.
Yeah.
We scored 60 points to the Dark Angel 0 because there was no way the Intercessor was surviving the rest of the game.
Yeah, not only that, I didn't have enough bodies to actually hold any of the objectives. And I actually took this list just to take out units that I hadn't really taken out. You know, like my Gravis Captain and my Hellblasters. I did want to do a Space Hulk sort of a thing with more Terminators, but I just said, nah, let's do something a little more fun. Anyway, I just think I could have played my Hellblasters a little better. Mm-hmm. I was thinking at the start of deployment whether that was the right place for them. Clearly it wasn't. Maybe if I had drawn some better lines and used my Captain's Expert Breacher a bit more, would have worked. Dice rolls didn't help, but that's neither here nor there, because you biffed your charge phase and a psychic phase turn 1 as well. What worked for you?
Well, I think it was really important because when I was planning out this whole list, I knew that I just needed bodies everywhere. Because I just needed bodies to hold objectives, open doors. That's why I took Zangos and just split them up. Because the Zangos just did nothing. They killed nothing. They just opened doors and grabbed objectives.
I think it's good for that. You know, that you do need bodies in this sort of game. I mean, the same thing happened with the Death Guard and the Votan game that we did. You know, Poxwalkers just did that. They held one objective, opened a door, and just sat there. So if you haven't seen that game, check it out on our channel. I'll make sure that I put a link in the description below. That was a really fun game.
Well, fun for you. I lost every damn Votan.
Yeah, but that's something to watch for again as well.
But with that, folks, do let us know if you liked this video and what you'd like to see from us in the future. Yeah. Please, if you can, hit the like button. It really does help our channel. And if you want to help us even more, please send this video to someone else who might like it.
Yeah, share it. Tell your friends. Remember to subscribe as well and hit that notification bell so you do get to see more boarding actions. Otherwise, you can go back onto our channel, check out our other games. We've had a few guests come on as well with a few different armies, so that's a bit of fun.
Yeah. And with that, we've been Six-Sided Scribes, and remember, let the stories roll.